Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to our first kickoff of the Final Girls Series 3 playthroughs. Now in my unboxing video I had put a call out of what playthrough you guys were most excited to see first, and to my surprise there was a couple of comments asking for Carolyn's Revenge. We are going to start things off with a playthrough using Carolyn's Revenge. Now this is kind of a new type of expansion for Final Girl where it's going to really expand on the actual titular character of the Final Girl. Now usually a lot of the uniqueness in a game of Final Girl comes from the location and the killer. They're all very iconic and memorable, and they all add their own mechanics. But the actual Final Girl that you play as, more or less, is kind of a reskin of the same kind of character, right? The Carolyn's Revenge pack here, the character pack that they're calling it, kind of introduces a new mini expansion that really plays with the idea of what a Final Girl can do. And it's something that's really, really exciting. It kind of opens up this new pathway that they have to really play with the design space of Final Girl and introduce some new intricacy and even more modularity in a game that has a ridiculous amount of mixing and matching that you can do. Here we are going to be revisiting our Series 1 killer and location, the Poltergeist at Creech Manor. However, Carolyn, that comes from the Poltergeist set, is now returned as a Final Girl that you could see here, and she is coming with some very cool psychic abilities. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Creech Manor and the Poltergeist, let me give you a quick rundown of those two things first. Now, Creech Manor that we have over here is a pretty straightforward location. Really, its only special features are that it has a couple of one-way pathways, as well as these window locations that certain tarot cards might interact with. But overall, a pretty straightforward location, cool haunted house. Now the Poltergeist is memorable because it has no health pool. You can see here there are no little icons for its total amount of health, and that's because you can't traditionally kill the Poltergeist by like physical means. The way that you typically beat the Poltergeist is that at the beginning of a game against it, you're going to shuffle this Carolyn item card into the location, and you need to find that Carolyn item and then escape with her so that you can defeat the Poltergeist. There's no way to actually defeat it with like direct conflict. However, how are you going to do that when Carolyn is the character that we're actually playing as? And that's where Carolyn's character is going to come in, and it ties in really beautifully with the Poltergeist. Because it is the set that Carolyn comes from, there's a lot of cool interactions, and you can play Carolyn against any other killer, but there are some cool specific things that it does with the Poltergeist set. Let's talk about Carolyn, who is the star of the show here. So Carolyn has returned, she has grown up, and she has now developed these psychic abilities. So Carolyn is going to have her card here, and what she is going to add are these different psychic action cards. So when you set up the game with Carolyn, you're going to add these different cards. Now, one thing that might stick out to you is that there are these blue damage types. And so Carolyn introduces a new type of damage to the game that is called psychic damage. And while that's something we're used to in the real world, it is newly introduced into Final Girl. And psychic damage is going to be tied with the unique way that Carolyn is able to defeat killers in this game. So you'll notice to the left of the Poltergeist here, there is a separate track for tracking psychic damage. This is independent from like the health pool that killers normally have. Obviously for the Poltergeist, this is the only way that we can do damage to it because it doesn't have a regular health pool. Now the reason that you're going to want to do psychic damage to an enemy is that one of her special cards and the way that she can uniquely win the game is this Psychic Expulsion card. And now what Psychic Expulsion is going to allow you to do is banish the killer into limbo, it completely removing it from the game and meaning that you defeat the killer. When you use Psychic Expulsion, you're going to roll a number of dice equal to the amount of psychic damage that was done, and then you're going to compare the number of successes that you rolled to the number of dead victims over here. So the more victims that die, the harder it's going to get to expel the killer. However, if you fall short of expelling the killer with this expulsion card, you're able to remove victims from the death pool here equal to the number of successes, making the next expulsion attempt a little bit easier. So we want to do more psychic damage so that we can roll more dice and try to successfully expel the killer. And that is going to be the only way that we can defeat the Poltergeist in this game mode. Now, Carolyn is also going to introduce a couple of other specific action cards that are her psychic abilities. One is going to be Psychic Travel, which is a really cool movement card that is going to allow us to place ourselves in any space. It's kind of like teleportation spell that we're going to have access to. We can't bring victims with us, but it's going to allow us to have a lot more mobility on the map. One of the other action cards she's going to have is this psychic charge here, and that is going to introduce these other cards that are new to her set that have these little blue backgrounds to them. Now this is going to allow us to attune items with this like psychic energy. Now when we attune an item, we're going to be able to place it on this blue card here, and that's going to allow us to use these weapons in order to do more psychic damage. So if we found this ritual dagger and then we attuned it, we would now be able to use this damage modifier to increase our psychic attack. Weapons are only going to help you do more psychic damage if you're able to attune them first. Now the final action card that Carolyn is going to add is Psychic Focus. And now Psychic Focus is what we are going to be able to use to get psychic attack cards. Psychic attack cards do not have a time value, so you can't buy them. You have to use the Psychic Focus in order to get the attack cards. Now Carolyn's ultimate ability is probably one of the most impactful of any in the entire game, because when we do have her ultimate ability, we are going to be able to take the Psychic Expulsion action card during upkeep every single turn, making it just a free recurring card that we're going to be able to get. And so getting a free expulsion every turn is going to be super helpful and really help us kind of seal the killer away towards the end of the game. So one of my main goals in this game is going to be really trying to save victims and get Carolyn to her ultimate ability because it is so powerful. One other small thing that is relevant because we are playing against the Poltergeist is that Carolyn also comes with a couple of terror cards that are going to be specific to the Poltergeist set. There are some terror cards that the Poltergeist has that is going to interact directly with the Carolyn item card that is obviously not in the game because we are playing as Final Girl Carolyn. So if any of those cards come up, we just resolve one of these instead. So we'll keep them off to the side in case we happen to draw any of them. Now one more thing I forgot to mention about Carolyn is that she also comes with 3 starting item cards. You're going to shuffle this up, or you could just choose one, and that's going to be your starting item for the game. So the one that we're starting with here is the Tarot deck, which is once per action phase, I can spend 1 time to move a victim 1 space towards me. So that is going to just give us a little bit more flexibility to kind of manipulate the victims a little bit, which is always really helpful to do. I think we are pretty much ready to get started. Let's start off by resolving our first opening event, which is Liquid Courage. Victims will follow you into the killer's space. So we're gonna have a little bit more flexibility running around with our victims, which is always nice. Makes it a little bit easier. We have a bunch of drunk victims running around this haunted house here. Now, normally I would kind of take the first turn kind of slow and just try to get the horror level down, but with how important saving victims is with Carolyn, I think I'm going to start a little bit more aggressive, especially when we have the trophy room right here with 2 victims. If I can go 1, 2, 3, I just need 3 movement, I would be able to get them to the exit space, which would be really helpful to do. So I think we're going to start with a little bit more of an aggressive gameplay this round, and we're going to start with a walk, with a couple cards that we can discard if we roll poorly. That's a double success to start things off, which is pretty awesome. So we're going to move into the trophy room, and then we're going to move back over here with our 2 victims. And we're going to do another walk. We only need 1 success, which shouldn't be too hard to pull off, and that's going to allow us to get our victims into the safety space and get them rescued. So that's a fail and a single success, which is really all we needed. I'm just going to spend the time for those 2 walks, and then we're going to run out here and we're going to save these 2 victims. Now all of Carolyn's rewards for saving victims are going to be some variation of taking a psychic action card. And so right now I would love to take Psychic Travel, so I'm going to take that as a reward. We're going to take Psychic Travel, and we are going to take a Psychic Focus card, which is going to be this card. Okay, so now we have our Psychic Travel and Psychic Focus. Now up here, the only weapon we can see right now is the ritual dagger. So I would like to get up to the attic and try and see if we can do a search. There's also 2 victims up there, which would be nice to save. And I think that's what I want to do here. So let's go ahead. We're going to do a Psychic Travel. And so on a double success, we get to place ourselves in any space. On a 1 success, we place ourselves in any space and take a damage. And then on a no success, place yourself in any space, we panic, and then we take a damage. So honestly, there's no, panicking would kind of suck, but even if it's no success, I'm not too sad about it. And I think we're going to discard down, I think. We're going to discard 2, which is going to be a single success, which is going to let us place ourselves in any space and then take a damage. And so we are going to pop up to the attic, and then we are going to take 1 damage. So we're up in the attic now. Next turn, I think I want to try to get a search so that we can pick up the ritual dagger, and then we have distraction just to kind of help get the horror level down closer to 3 dice. So I'm actually going to discard Psychic Focus for 1 time, and then we're going to move into the planning phase. And during that planning phase, we're going to spend 3 on a distraction, and then 2 on a time, which is going to spend our 5 time, and then we'll go ahead and reset that, and then we will put our starting cards back into the market. We will now move over into the killer phase, and the killer is going to move to a victim and attack. And it's going to, I guess it's going to go here, clear off the first floor before it starts moving up. We're going to kill 1 victim, raise this, and that's going to increase our horror by 1. So that's not too great, but we will hopefully try to get these victims away from the poltergeist because we need 6 to save, and right now we only have kind of 2 wiggle room to get victims, unless we're going to add more. But okay, so that is our killer action. We're going to go ahead and do our terror card. Did that clown just move? A clown doll appears. You may play an action card that inflicts damage if you wish. Then, if the clown doll is alive, you take damage equal to the killer's attack. You may defend as normal. If you take damage, increase the bloodlust, and the clown doll disappears. So unfortunately, we have no way to do damage with that. We discarded our weak attack on the first turn, and so we are going to take 1 damage, the current killer's attack value, and then we are going to have to increase the bloodlust, which is already going to do a dark power, which is stiff wind. All of your moves of 2 or more spaces are reduced by 1. So it's going to get even harder to move around and navigate this house, which is not too great. We are not going to have to panic anyone, nothing to upkeep, and now we are going to move into our action phase. And if you're enjoying this video, please consider liking and subscribing to join the channel. I do a lot of playthroughs and reviews and previews and all sorts of board game content, and I would love to have you on board. And let me know in the comments below what other Final Girl playthroughs you may want to see in the future. I really do use them for inspiration, and I would love to hear what you have to say. Now, back to our ghost busting adventure. So I think we're gonna start by trying to get control of the situation. We are going to make a distraction here, which is a partial success. I could discard 2 focuses, or I could do the decrease horror, lose 4 time. So we're going to discard 2, and then we're going to reduce this by 1, and we're going to gain 1 time. So this is going to be kind of a cruddy turn. Let's just hope that we can get at least 1 success here. We're kind of just going in blind. Double success, awesome. Okay, so we get to take the top 2 cards, and then we're going to choose one of them. So we have the Ritual Dagger and the Padlock. So the Ritual Dagger is going to let us do 1 additional damage. You may discard the Ritual Dagger to kill a victim in your space. If you do, remove all minor dark powers from play or deal damage to the killer. Or we have the Padlock that's going to lock a killer out of a room and it'll have to spend an attack in order to get up there. So this is not awful, honestly, but I think what I'm going to value more is the Ritual Dagger. Because if we can attune the Ritual Dagger, it's going to let us do a little bit more psychic damage, which is going to be helpful. So we're going to go ahead and grab that so we at least have a weapon. We have no more cards, which is not super great, but I think that we are going to spend 1 time to use the tarot deck, and we're going to move... We're going to move this victim over 1. Because if we put the victim here, I can move down the house this way and pick it up. If they're in the closet, I have to spend a movement to go into the closet and then bring them back out, which is going to be a pain in the neck. So I don't think I want to do that. And actually, what's really nice is that if we just sit down here, we can use the tarot deck to have them jump out the window towards us, which would kind of just be like a free way to save victims without having to go all the way back into the house. So maybe we could set up a situation there and tell them to jump out the window towards us, which would be helpful. Okay, oh, and I have to spend the 1 time for the search, and now we're going to go into planning. So we're going to pick up all of our free cards. The stiff wind is going to make it really tough to move through the house. Even if we got like 2 sprints and then got double successes on both of them, that would only take us 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And then I have walk, so I could get them out of the window. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4 for the 2 sprints. It's going to leave us 2 time. I think I'm going to buy 2 close calls. And I'm really going to invest in trying to get these sprints to be successful so that we can get these victims out of the house. I think that is priority number 1 for us because we need to be getting that psychic expulsion card sooner rather than later. So we'll go ahead and reset that. we're going to go into our killer phase. So we're going to go 1, 2. It's going to kill this poor victim, and that's going to increase this by 1. And let's go ahead and do a terror card. The ground is shaking. Place the poltergeist in your space. It is then going to attack. Oh, it's going to kill a victim. That is not good. All right, this is going to go up. Horror level is going to go up by 2. And then if you take any damage, all your moves during the next action phase are panicked. We did not take any damage there, so that's okay. So now we have no room for error here. We have to save all the victims on the map, or else we are totally screwed. But honestly, I think we're in an okay spot. These guys being in window spots might be our saving grace. And we do need to panic this victim, so let's go ahead and roll that. That was a 6, so it is going to go down 1 spot. No big deal, that's where we're going to be taking them anyway. Okay, no upkeep to do, so we're going to go back into our action phase, and we are just going to have to really hope for the best. We have a lot of cards to re-roll dice and to discard, so this should be okay. Let's go ahead and roll that. That is a single success and a partial, and so we are going to pitch weak attack and short rest, and that's going to be a double success. So we're going to spend the time for the sprint, and then we're going to move 3 spaces, but since we have stiff wind, we can only move 2 spaces. So we're going to go 1 and 2 and bring this victim with us. And we're going to go for another sprint and hope for this dice roll at the very least. Let's go for that. Another single and partial. I'm going to get rid of a close call and a walk and make that a double success. So we are going to move 1 and 2. And we're going to have a whole bunch of people in this window spot. And now we really need just a single success on this walk, and we are going to be okay. All right, that's a partial. I really can't afford to fail this, honestly. Like, this is kind of do or die. I'm just going to reduce the time for the sprint. I forgot to do that before. So this is do or die. So I'm going to spend 2 time, 1, 2, to re-roll all of the dice. I think I'm also going to choose to put the desperation die in because we really need 1 success. All right, that's a double success, so we're going to spend the time for that. And then we're going to walk down with 2 more victims, which is nice. And we are going to take a psychic focus, and we are going to take a psychic travel. So we'll take a travel and a focus. And then we're going to spend 1 time to use our tarot deck, which is going to move 1 victim closer, 1 space closer to me into this exit spot. And then we are going to take that, and we'll take a psychic attack card. Okay, so as long as the poltergeist doesn't port to a victim spot and kill it this turn, we'll be able to use our tarot deck on the next turn, get it to our exit space, and then we will be all set with our ultimate ability, which is really kind of what our focus was for the kind of first opening part of this game. So let's go ahead and go into planning. We have no time, so we are just going to buy our focuses that are free, and then that is it. That was not, we burned a lot of time moving around the map, but it was obviously pretty worth it, I think. And the desperation die is out for the rest of the game. Okay, let's go ahead and into the killer phase. They're going to move 1 and 2. All right, let's go ahead and see what our killer card is. It's broken. Place the broken ladder token covering the ladder on the board. The ladder may no longer be used, and the spaces connected are no longer adjacent. So we weren't really playing on this side of the map here, but we can no longer go up and down the ladder, and then horror is going to increase. And we are in an extremely bad place with horror, so we're going to really have to spend some time getting that back under control. We are almost in 1 die territory, which is not where we want to be. Okay, let's do some upkeep. We'll reset those items, and then we are back to us. And we're going to do the first thing. We're going to spend the tarot deck. We're going to move this one closer to us and save it, which is going to give us a psychic attack card, but more importantly is going to give us the ultimate ability. So during our upkeep from now on, we're going to get Psychic Expulsion, which is really what we need to eventually defeat the killer, which is awesome. I don't think I'm going to do anything this turn. I think we're just going to hang out and stockpile cards this turn. I'm going to actually... I already have my 2 psychic attacks, so I'm actually going to discard Psychic Focus for 1 time, because there's no real use for it there. So we're going to have 7 time going into the planning. And let's do some planning. Let's buy a distraction because we got to get horror under control. So it's 1, 2, and 3. Let's buy a... What are the chances that the Poltergeist is going to get to my spot next turn? 1, 2, 3. I think we could eat one more attack from the Poltergeist. I'm going to be a little greedy and not get a defense card. I think I want to get improvised for 3 time. 1, 2, 3. And then we get close call for 1. Because I would like to improvise, make those 3s and 4 successes, and then try to get good distraction and focuses, and kind of tamper down the horror level a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. One thing I will notice is that there's a lot more hand management when you have these psychic cards because it adds so many more action cards to your hand. I've kind of had to be more conscious of keeping 10 cards in my hand, right? We're letting some of these 0-cost cards sit in the market there. Okay, let's go into killer phase. Poltergeist is going to move 1 and 2. It's going to jump out the window at me in a second. And then it's coming, it's coming. Wow, we were very lucky we didn't draw this last turn. It's going to move 3 movement times towards victims and then kill 1 victim in each space. The killer passes, including its current and final spaces. So there's no victims on the map, so that's not actually going to do anything. So that's going to give us a little bit of breathing room. And let's go ahead and try to get some of this under control here. All right, so let's rock this improvise. That's going to be a single and a partial, and we are going to discard a weak attack. I kind of want to keep short rest. We're a little hurt. We're going to get rid of a weak attack and a close call. So that's going to be a double success. For the rest of this turn, 3s and 4s are going to be successes, so that's going to give us a lot more wiggle room here. Let's play a distraction, which unfortunately is just going to be a single success because we rolled a 1, of course. So we're going to reduce this by 1, and we're going to gain 1 time. We are going to go into focus. Hopefully we can make up some lost ground here. Oh my gosh, that's a double fail. We're going to lose 2 time. This improvise is going to waste right now. Do that. All right, that's a double success. So we're going to reduce this by 1, and then we're going to gain 2 time. And we're going to do a short rest and try to get a little bit of health back. Double success, so we're just going to get 2 health back, which will bring us to a max of 5 health again, which is super awesome. I think we're still going to hang out here. I don't think I want to move. We have 2 psychic attacks, so if the Poltergeist comes onto our spot, I'm feeling pretty ready to do some combat with it. So let's move into our planning phase, and I'm going to spend 3 time for psychic charge. 1, 2, 3. I would like to attune the ritual dagger so that when we do start fighting with the Poltergeist, we will be able to actually do a little bit of extra psychic damage. We only need to roll 3 successes, so it's going to be honestly pretty doable to expel the Poltergeist, or put it to limbo, whatever the term is on expulsion. I'm going to spend 2 time on a guard because I have learned if there's a double attack or something, I'm going to get screwed and died. There's been multiple playthroughs where that has happened. It's not going to happen in this playthrough. So that's going to be 2 time, and I think we're just going to buy... we're going to buy Psychic Focus. We're going to buy 2 Psychic Focus, actually. And then we'll just take our walks back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, we're all set on those action cards. So let's go ahead and put these back. And we're going to go into our killer phase. She is coming for us. Going to move down 1 and do 2 damage to us. I'm just going to eat that first attack. It's no big deal. And we're going to get a terror card. There it is. If there are no victims on the board, discard and draw the next terror card. All right, so we're going to ignore this one. Everything was flying around us. Increase horror by 1. Place the Poltergeist with the closest victim or in your space if there are no victims. And then we are going to take an attack. I'm actually going to eat this attack because it's going to leave us with 1 health, which is going to give us our adrenaline die. And I think we're going to do some big stuff this next turn, and I want that extra die. if I fail this game, I want it to be known that this is the moment where my hubris is gonna cause us to lose. But I think I want this adrenaline die going into the last turn. We were on the outskirts of the house. Might have our final showdown with the poltergeist here. No panicking, no upkeep. Oh wait, hello, upkeep. The whole reason we got this thing. I'm gonna take the psychic expulsion card for free because we have our ultimate ability. Right, that's the whole reason we saved those victims. Okay, you guys wanna see something cool? Let's do this. Now first, we're going to use our psychic charge, and we're going to try to attune the ritual dagger. Do that. Not how I wanted to start it off, but I don't think it's too big of a deal. We're going to discard our 2 walks for a single success. This is going to allow us to attune 1 item. So we're going to attune our ritual dagger. Now, we are going to use our psychic attacks, and we are going to start wailing on the poltergeist. That is a single success, and we are going to discard... We're going to discard something. We're going to discard... Oh, I need psychic focuses. So we have psychic travel, so like if I need to... Oh, this could do 1 damage to us if we don't get a double success. All right, I'm going to discard psychic travel and 1 psychic focus to make this a double success. And we are going to do 3 damage to the poltergeist. We're going to do another psychic attack. And come on, really could use a double success here. That is a single success. I can't afford to discard any more cards. Single success, so that's going to do 2 damage with the psychic dagger. And we are going to go for it. We're going to shoot a psychic expulsion. And so as a quick reminder, psychic expulsion, we can roll as many dice as we have done psychic damage. So we're going to roll 5 dice. And if we get 4 or 5 successes, we are going to be able to expel it, because that is how many dead victims there are over here. So let's see if we can get it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's a single success. We are not going to expel it, but we are able to remove one of these victims from the victim death pool over here, so it's going to be a little easier next time. Now we are going to go into planning, because we need to buy a lot of defense cards, because that was not the explosive turn I was hoping it was going to be. But luckily, none of those psychic cards actually use any time, so we still have 6 time to play with, which is nice. So we are going to buy guard for 2, 1, 2, and we're going to buy retaliate for 4, and it's going to spend all of our time. So we have 3 defense cards. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to fend off anything that the poltergeist throws at us, unless it's going to do like some unavoidable damage, but we're just going to have to hope that that doesn't happen. So we're going to put our psychic attacks here, psychic travel, psychic focus, charge, walk, and we'll buy our 0-cost cards, of course. Okay, poltergeist is going to attack us. We're still rolling 3 dice because we have 1 health. We're going to play guard. And we just need 1 success. It's only doing 2 damage to us right now. All right, so that's 1 success. That's fine. We're going to reduce 2 by 2, so it's 0. It's going to draw a terror card. Something is coming through the wall. If there are no victims on the board, discard and draw the next terror card. So we're going to ignore this one. The windows and doors just slam shut. If you're inside, you may not move during the next action phase. If you are outside, you may not enter the house during the next action phase. And we draw the next event card. The next event card is helicopter rescue. I don't think it's going to be relevant right now, but the helicopter is now waiting at the attic for victims to be saved. But we are not escaping this turn. We are ending this by fighting the poltergeist. We are not running anymore. Let's see if we can do this thing. So I'm going to play Psychic Focus so that I can add a Psychic Attack to my hand. We just need 1 success. I will take it. We're going to add a Psychic Attack to our hand, and we're going to immediately play it. And hopefully we can get 2 successes here. That is a single and 2 partials. We are going to burn our 2 focuses and make that a double success, which is going to mean that we do 3 psychic damage. So it's 1, 2, and 3. So we're rolling 8 dice on this next expulsion. I should have grabbed the expulsion during the upkeep. Forgot to do that. And let's do it. We're going to do expulsion. We're going to roll 6 dice, and then we'll roll another 2. And we just need 2 successes. Like, so statistically unlikely that we fail this. And there it is. 3 successes. We take the ritual dagger. It's all cool and spectral, and we just seal the poltergeist away into limbo using the ritual dagger. It is banished away, and the poltergeist at Creech Manor has finally been defeated. After many games of just running away, Carolyn has returned and successfully done it. In the outside of the house, the windows and doors all slammed shut as we were starting to seal it away. What a cool ending there. So there you have it. That was a playthrough of Carolyn's Revenge. I hope it came through in this playthrough, but this is my favorite Final Girl. Is it a little broken? Is Carolyn a little overpowered? Yes, obviously, but it is so fun. This changes the way that you approach Final Girl so much. This feels like you are almost hunting these killers. You have an ability to teleport anywhere on the map. You are able to do this psychic damage that is almost like unavoidable and just kind of eventually is going to be able to seal them away. No matter how much health a killer has, this psychic damage being its own individual thing is so cool. You feel powerful playing as Carolyn. The fact that we have like Final Girl lore now, we have characters from Series 1 coming back in Series 3 as Final Girls. I am a sucker for lore and continuity with characters, so to have Carolyn come back from the Poltergeist set, have it all tie together so nicely, having these tarot cards that you replace because Carolyn is no longer in the deck, it's so cool. This is such a cool set, especially if you've been playing since Series 1, right? The Poltergeist is like one of the hardest killers, so to be able to have a Final Girl who counters her and can go back and seal her away, it is just a ton of fun. And I had a lot of fun playing through this. I'm glad it was a win. Of all the playthroughs we've done, I was hoping this would be the cool one we got, and it was. So I would like to thank everyone who left a comment to suggest playing as Carolyn's Revenge. This was not like on the highest of my list of what I thought I was going to record, but I'm so glad I did because I think that even if you don't have Series 3, I think Carolyn adds such an interesting way to play the game, and I'm really excited to check the other character pack that came with Series 3, the Granny's Revenge. That looks like a lot of fun, but I really loved Carolyn's Revenge. Really awesome stuff. I think this is a great kind of showing of this new design space that they're like testing the waters with, of having really unique Final Girls, and this is this is so awesome. I really enjoyed this game. I really love playing with Carolyn. So I hope you guys enjoyed this playthrough. Let me know what other Final Girls Series 3 or kind of mix and matching you want to see. If you want to see Carolyn go and try to banish the evil morph in space, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I do use that as like inspiration to kind of see what I want to play. There's so many combinations. How could I possibly choose? And I would love to hear what you guys want to see. So I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. Thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.